Yes, guys, the first one of the season. Listen to my voice, man. Start of August. Listen, I've gone already. On already. Right. This is our little letter because I like to take time to calm down and relax, not make really emotional decisions on games. Otherwise, just don't do that. Right, we'll go through it. And like I said, you guys know me. You know what type of take I'm going to have. You know, in terms of, I'm not going to, you'll see. First of all, blame. Now, what annoyed me so much is, again, spoken about it for months and months and months. Joe speaks about it all the time. Andrea mentions it all the time. Tempo. That word. Tempo. The first 15 minutes of a game, obviously you're riled up. You know, you're full of it. You're full of energy. You've got desire. You want to smash them. You know what I mean? And when that happens, we come out. And this is the key bit. When we come out with tempo, start the games, we look genuinely unplayable. When in any time, in any situation, when we decide to inject tempo into a game, we're by far the best team. By far. We look really good with tempo, really good. The problem is, we are very, very, as a team right now anyway, reliant on tempo. We are reliant on it. And of course, there needs to be a medium for me, because it comes from tempo, unplayable, to tempo drops as the game goes on. Naturally, obviously, science. You start a game with more tempo than in the 30th minute, right? That's the way things work. So you need to find a way as a side to be balanced in the way you play, and not rely so much on one aggression, and that's tempo. When we don't have it, and when that happens and we drop our tempo, we don't seem to be aggressive. We don't seem to be necessarily in control. There's a difference between having possession and having the ball and being in control of the game. You can be in control of possession, but are you in control of the game? When we have it and we're slow and that tempo drops, the opposition, early or right, they get one or two fouls. You know, we make one or two slick passes. Slick passes, not slick, the opposite. Terrible passes. They intercept, they get a foul, they move the ball up, they get it into our final third, they win more fouls, they get corners, they get free kicks. Suddenly, our tempo, because it's dropped and we're reliant on that, theirs is getting higher and they're getting more confident. And you see them, they go into harder tackles, they break a power play, we get frustrated, their crowd gets higher, ours gets quieter, and it all becomes a bit of a scrap. So anything as a side that you rely on, if that is tempo, if that's possession, kind of goes out the window, because you're allowing the opposition to gain confidence. And if we maintain our tempo at a more effective level, we dominate the game. When we have tempo, we dominate the game. When we don't, we look slow. And like I said, it's fine. You're not going to control the game with tempo for 90 minutes. That doesn't exist. That's literally impossible. They are not machines, they're humans. But you need to find a way that when that does drop, you can find a way to scrap out a game where you're still in favour. You know, all the best teams do it. All the best teams do it. You look at the way they play. And even Madrid, you know, when they have tempo and they've got the crowd behind them and their players are cooking, they look ridiculous. But then a lot of the time when they're out the ball and the opposition have it, it's fine. Because they still maintain the tempo, but in a different way. It's not aggressive. It's where our shape is good, our shape is solid. And when we get that ball, we're going to fly forward. And we allowed Portsmouth to feed into the game. And that's the problem. That was one of the biggest problems for me. It's that tempo. We show when we go for it, when we're good, we can score goals in 3 passes. It's not even a possession thing. It doesn't have to be. Our build-up, look at it. Look at all the goals. Look how quick we scored or created the chance. Dan James, look at the option we have. When we're on it and we're quick and the play and the move is decisive, we're on it. But there's too many people for me that do this. And I get it. I get the mindset. Calm down, of course. You need to play with a clear mind. But I think it's, for me anyway, personally, from my personal preference, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. This is my belief in the way in which I like to see it played. You can't be too calm. Can't be, because then that's when your arrogance comes into it and you think we can just be calm and chill and pass. You're disrespecting the opposition at that point and saying, look, we can play calm, we can play real calm, it's fine. Not necessarily you can't in this league, because teams are smart and they'll find ways to turn your calmness into panic. And that's what they did at times. Like I said, when we're on it, all we need is 2 or 3 quick passes and we're in on goal. We are absolutely deadly. We should have scored 7 or 8. That's a fact. We should have done. Clear chances. Clear chances to win the game in the first 15 minutes. Clear. We didn't have the clinical side, which is another thing. It is similar to the same issues we had last year, in the sense that when that tempo drops, you don't look very comfortable in the game. It all gets a bit slow, the crowd get a bit annoyed, and I understand you have to slow down the game, you have to, slow it down. You have to control the tempo, but we're not controlling it, we're slowing it down. There's a difference between controlling it and slowing it down. We don't look like we're controlling it. We look like we're just slowing it down for the sake of it. And our arrogance is telling us, we'll be fine. Yeah, we'll find it in a minute. And then they score. And then suddenly that slow play 10 minutes before the goal, you're going, okay, right, let's speed it up now. Right, that can't be the mindset. It's got to be in here. We have to understand that when we are playing it slow, it still has to be with purpose. It still has to be with understanding. We can't allow that slow play to let them get back into it. And we did. That's what happened. We are so lethal, and at the same time, 10 minutes later, we can be disastrous. We need a middle. We need that real control middle. Intensity will drop. What do you do when it does? That's the key for me. You look at their goals, and this is the word, naivety. There's a naivety to it. There is. There's a huge naivety to it. It was there last year. It's there in most teams. It's a normal thing. There's naivety to not, adjust. And their first goal should be saved. Also, the defending for it, and I'll do a video, don't worry. Shocking. That's naivety. That's when the tempo's low, everyone seems too relaxed and too, and then the guy passes it quick and their intensity is higher, so they're ready and you're not, and he passes it through you, and then he's on goal and he should have saved it. But that's a mindset thing again. The outfield players, and the goalkeeper has to save that, obviously. Penalty again, naivety. What you're doing, even if it's soft, you don't need to give the ref a decision. Don't be naive. You know you're going to give him a decision. You know he'll give it. Come on, they'll give that. They'll give it. Any day of the week, they'll give it. And that's that issue. And these are things that you can solve, and the players have to realise it. They have to look at themselves. They have to realise that we can be intense, but there's also a middle ground to that. A thing I loved about at the start of the game was not only the play, but how many times did we win that second ball? Endless. Any ball that went long, I was all right with, because I knew there were 2 or 3 midfielders that were going to win it, and we won it. We went high up because of that. We didn't always have to play out. We could go long, and we won the second ball. Excellent. And when that drops, the intensity drops, you're kind of guessing, they're going higher, they're suddenly moving a bit quicker, you're reacting slower because, again, your arrogance comes into it. They're getting to the second balls. Oh, now they're getting up. Their crowds get going, they're getting going, their players are getting going. And that's the naivety came into it. For me, and I'll talk about the captain, again, I think in terms of defensively and tracking, he was really good today. But the problem is when you have an Ampadu type player who sits in that 6, the role is fine. It's the understanding of what to do in that role. And for me, you need someone there next to Ampadu, an 8, a number 8 profile, who is a dominant tempo player, a guy who will dictate. I don't like the game when Ampadu dictates the play. I don't like it. I think he's a little too slow and relaxed in that sense. The dictator of the play for me has to be our 8. It can start with the 6, of course, but the 8 needs to be the progressive one. The 8 needs to be the one that controls the game and runs forward, gives the ball, pass and move forward. Where can we go? Tempo. The 6 can sit, but the 8 has to be that guy. We don't have that profile. We don't. Gruev does his thing. We know what Gruev can do. Very aggressive. I like him. I do like Gruev. I like Rothwell. I think they have a role. But I don't think either of them are a dominant tempo style 8 with output in the final third. We don't have that necessarily. I don't think we do. I think that's the biggest profile we're missing. And there's other profiles, but I think that's the main one. You have a player like Ampadu, who naturally likes to slow things down and play a slow style. That's fine, but you need a tempo guy in midfield. We don't have it. Rothwell tries when he comes on, he does, but I still think in terms of his overall play and his dominance on the field, it's a bit hit and miss. We need a big physical presence in there that has goal output, who can pass and move quick. So that's the key. We need that profile in. That's the next profile for me. Obviously, the winger is the thing we're looking at. Not a problem for me at this point, if I'm being honest. I think our wing looks great. I think our wing players look really good. Dan James was our best attacking outlet because he's direct and he holds intensity longer than any other player on the pitch. Dan James does. He's always got it. That is so important. You know, Mateo had bits. Should have scored though. People have been critical of one player. You got to be critical of another. The striker needs to score them chances he had. But everything around that I thought was excellent. He really settled into the game well. He dominated defenders at times. His running was good. But we still didn't have that clinical edge. Chances we should have scored, none to add one. Obviously, Aronson at the end should have scored that. I know you got the equaliser. It's a good little finish. But in the grand scheme of the game, that gets you 3 points. And it doesn't really matter the way you play. And let me clarify. I think there were times in that where we played really well. I really do. But it's just frustrating how it drops. The drop then isn't a controlled drop. It seems like it's just a setting of, we'll just do it slow then. Got to understand why we're doing that. And it's not, players are on different wavelengths when we drop. When we're up here, everyone's on the same wavelength. When we're down here, some players are here, some are here, some are here. It needs to be here. It needs to be in the middle. And there's not that. That will come, hopefully. It needs to. And we need an 8 profile for that. I'm seeing people say, like, and I get it, look, we've got the best team in the league, we should have no excuses. You need profiles, though. You need the profile to play the way we play, and we don't have that yet. We need it. Lubatic is an example of a player with that style of profile. Like I said, we'll create chances and we'll score a hell of a lot of goals this season. A lot. Our front line is a joke. Our fullbacks today were a bit hit and miss. I think Bogle made a mistake defensively, which, and I spoke about when I talk about the player. People tell me he's not terrible. No, he's not, but he still needs to improve it. It's not the best part of his game. He's a progressive fullback. He's good in the final third. Could have had an assist today. And again, making them forward runs, very, very good. I liked it. But Firpo for his standards were a little quiet. Rutter was very good. Again, he became a little too reliant on him, and I didn't like that. You want to give it to your best players, but it became, I'll give it to him with 3 around him. He can take 3 on, but not 10 times in a game. You know, we need to be, like I said, naivety, yeah, all that stuff. I'm not going to over-exaggerate things because people do that. We've got a point. There is a lot to work on. Of course there is. Look, people, when you work in the blooming sport, if you lose your head over one game, you're not going to survive in the sport longer than 10. It's fine. There's things to work on. There's a profile we need to get as soon as possible. This team needs to understand how to control the intensity and the tempo of a game. We do that and we control it and we find a good middle ground, will be ridiculous. But we saw both ends of that today. We saw the good, which was a joke. I messaged in the group that saying, we're too good. And then 10 minutes later, drops, they score, theirs drop, ours doesn't go up. We need to find a consistent middle. But yeah, stuff to talk about. Let me know what you guys think. Anyone? I know people are like when this happens. People get high rate. If you're in the comments and you've been high rate and you've just been an ass, I'll just block you. To be honest, you know, I don't mean disagree. If you disagree, that's absolutely fine. If you have criticisms, that's fine. But when we don't lose, people get really emotional and think this is a place that they can go and just abuse. Nah, don't do that. It's pointless. Don't get you anywhere. You're angry. Fine, I'm angry. We're all angry. It is what it is. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. On to Wednesday now. Yeah. Peace.